totally wrong, and I'm sorry already, Twitch chat.
All
I
right, well,
apologize.
we're not going to spoilers. We don't want to reveal the script just yet because the script has just started. It is Allegiance versus Immortals. This will be their third time meeting in 3 weeks of the finals. The winner will not only secure themselves the lead in the series, but also the lead in points. The game starts now.
The game starts now. The finals are here. The initial stun onto KZ Fox, but no follow-up there from the side of ALG. Bobo was there as well with the Wailing Blade. They're getting that nice initial poke, so not able to find the jungle invade they were looking for. Is Allegiance. The blue buff is going to go the way over of Immortals here, doing a very good job of fending that off. Tulin is going to look to potentially go and find some sort of invade as well up in the top onto X tiers as well. So Sleepy maybe going to look for the collapse. X tiers is going in there. Sleepy, though, doing a nice little bit of initial damage. And then the follow-up, though, from MTS, not quite connecting there.
Yeah, he missed. He missed that Malice. If he hit it, that would have chunked Wonder Woman down to less than 20% health because of the amount of damage fallout they can do from there. That was a really solid rotation there. Now they're winning the side lanes here. Look at the way AOG is rotating. They're definitely winning the side lanes, which is now going to put pressure on the mid lane because the side lanes are pushed to turret.
They're getting all of this pressure here on the side, which is just opening up their rotations right now, forcing in these waves, giving them the options here. And options is a big part of this right now. If you're the side of Allegiance, you want to leave as many routes open to yourself as possible. You don't want to put yourself in a position where Immortals can anticipate your movements, because at this stage in the game, these teams are good enough to do just that.
Yeah, and look at that. They're able to steal a little bit of jungle, you know, push Wonder Woman into lane, rotate down, help Lubu win the trade against Ryoma. Allegiance right now is showing much more dominance so far in this early game. However, this is almost a 2-minute mark where Zeo is level 4 and he can make a play here.
That was the play right there. He looked to dodge it, but he just slightly mistimed it. Went juked right when he should have juked left. And that was a really nice pickup there. That spear from Rocker was so solid. And that is our first blood going the way of Allegiance here in game number 1. Alice just stepping a little bit too far forward, trying to give vision for the team and finding vision of his own death.
Yeah, and that's what I definitely mentioned. Is beginnings and 80s here are the key in the early game here because their positioning is normally a little aggressive. They get out of position, they get caught out, and then as a result, it gives the enemy team to get ahead. And the only way they come back is because, you know, Bobo and X-Tiers are able to carry the mid-game fight and just turn around 4v5s when Immortals is the 4 versus the 5. So let's see if they can pull that against a team as well polished as AOG, though, and that's going to be really tough.
Yeah, that is going to be definitely an uphill battle, a difficult task in front of them here, because you talk about the polish that is Allegiance. They do so many things well. There is no outright thing. I'm like, oh, they should do this better. They do everything well here. So I'm going to need Immortals to step up as well here and show that they can go toe-to-toe with the best here. Allegiance, of course, though, they have a lot of good options, but this is looking to be the fight in the early game. The fight over the Dragon. Rest is going in onto beginnings, but the rest of the team is there. KZ Fox trying to find the damage. The backline, the Tornado was there. Look at the damage. The follow-up from Zennial is going to be arriving here, though. Rest is getting very low, and that is the special hour coming from Bobo the Dragon, though. All through this is getting full back to full health Sleepy with the beautiful endure there, and it is going to be 1 kill on KZ Fox.
Yeah, that was key there. KZ Fox went in there. He was doing so much damage to the team, but Preda wasn't able to leverage that poison gas bomb to displace and get the Slims closer to the Zil for those auto attacks to happen and allow Lubu to come in and finish it off. So in that fight, Zil was doing a lot of damage going in, but this team was not there to commit with him. And unfortunately now that allows ALG to win that fight and now puts him at a 1k gold lead when Immortals has the early game comp. They have the assassin comp that needs to snowball against an ADC. And if they don't snowball an ADC and let Slims get to late game, this is going to look really rough for Immortals.
A 1k gold lead, despite the fact that they only have 2 kills. They didn't actually pick up the Dragon in all that. It was leashed, it was not there, and Zennial rotated in, so it was a 5v4 to end that fight. But Wonder Woman got free push in the top lane, was not able to get that tower down. But we're still seeing a solid gold lead for Allegiance. So despite the fact that Immortals didn't lose all that much, Allegiance is finding every little advantage that they can.
Yeah, and they're playing really smart too. They don't want to force the Dragon when they're getting low. They already got low from the Zil ultimate. They got the kill on KZ Fox. So they're playing really careful right now. They're not trying to throw their lead here. And that's exactly how they're doing. They're posturing around Dragon now, trying to get some dominance, posturing here, doing showing the AOG that, hey, wow, look at that stun from Slims there. What a good... Rocker is so good at landing these Slim Spears.
I mean, it's so funny because this guy, like, you just let him auto-attack for days. He's having a blast, but also showing that he can hit these skill shots when they matter, as this looks like ALG going to be grabbing our first Abyssal Dragon here. And yes, that is going to be Slims picking that up. Nicely done. There's Zill's going to the back on the train of the fault, though. And the knock-up, they've taken him down as well. That is going to be Slims just securing that again. Rocker looking so solid, and 2 kills going the way of ALG.
Yeah, look at Sleepy just taking care of 80s here. They're not going in with the Zill here. And this is a really tough, and look at that spear again. Rocker is just a beast on this Slims. Again, Zill is going in there alone, and the Immortals is not there helping him. They have to go in together. They have to, if your jungler commits, your entire team needs to commit. Get all the AoE damage from the Preda, because right now that damage isn't coming out, and as a result, they're losing a lot of these fights and trades. And oh my goodness, look at that damage and those plays from Rocker on Slims here.
Absolute insanity. ALG are looking so solid right now. The rotations, the skill shots, they just aren't missing anything, and KZ Fox has been a complete non-factor. The Zill, again, you need to be winning. You can't go even, and once you're behind on a Zill, that is super tough to recover from. Immortals, they needed to be ahead in the early game right now. They are not finding that, and against this Slims, I'm not too keen on their chances.
The key, but look at Sleepy. He's just carrying as the mid mage. He has 4 kills, 3.6 gold compared to 80's hero, 2.3 K code. Sleepy has more damage and is winning the early game in mid lane here, and this is the kind of the weakness of Immortals, is they have to make sure they don't lose the mid lane. I mean, the side waves are fine, but losing a mid tower this early is devastating, because that opens up both sides of the jungle to be invaded, and this is a really, really tough place for Immortals to be in right now.
This is not a good situation, and I think it really comes down in part to this draft. I'm going to speak about that in a second here, as the engage is going to the bottom lane. Hissifit, though, doing a great job healing for the team. We do have KZ Fox going and dodging at the stump, but the Zenio dropping in as well. The Splendor is there, the knock of the tower is gone, the kills are there. Allegiance is finding that, but the big damage coming from Preda trying to knock them back. The spear is being dodged as well, as we do have Xtiers flanking in on the side here. Res and crew need to be in full retreat as they're backing up. Nicely done, as Res is going to be able to pull himself out of there, but we do have the 2-1 in full retreat in the bot lane. Might be the only kill here as well, but odds this is going on. Space created, says Sleepy. He's going to endure and keep them there for just a little bit longer so that Allegiance can grab the dragon as well. Allegiance looking so solid here in game number 1.
That fight was insane. KZ Fox actually dodged the spear using his ultimate. He waited for Slims to proc the spear, and then he ulted, just dodging the spear. However, again, it wasn't enough. No one is going in with him. And then Zenio coming from across the MTS, coming over there and just protecting his team as Zenio, and just turned around the fight completely. Preda was rotating down, wasn't in the fight yet, so it became an uneven fight from the get-go, and this is what Immortals needs to fix. They cannot fight uneven like this. They need to make sure they're in position and rotate faster. It's exactly what I talked about. AOG is just rotating quicker, more decisively, and getting the uneven initiations first, and that gives them the advantage, and as a result, they're winning a lot of these key fights.
Immortals hasn't been able to fight as 5. That's really been a big thing. They started to fight 4v4 and they're thinking, awesome, it's great, and then Zenio's like, guys, I have a global. I'm just going to arrive and do a whole bunch of stuff when I land. But again, I think the biggest part of this was the draft. We talk about the mids. You mentioned it before, how big of a factor this is. We saw how dominant 80's Heroes was in that last series on someone who can make big flashy plays. And now we're seeing him on that Preda, and we're just seeing that the side of Immortals is getting ripped apart right now through all of this. Allegiance just taking them, and I think it's partially because Zill wants to go in. Zill's all but going in, but Preda's about sitting back. They're just not synergizing at all. If that was a L'Oreal, if that was another follow-up, speaking of follow-up, the stun is going in, and the damage is there once more.
Wow.
Nowhere is safe for you, Immortals. 10 kills to 1. Allegiance looking absolutely dominant. They're just upset I didn't pick them to win.
Also, at the same time, you can't play as Alice. ADC is really good into Alice. Alice actually counters dive comps, so they should have picked an ADC hero. However, they kind of locked themselves in that draft. And if that ADC versus ADC, this may be a little different, because the way they're playing Zill, they're not going in with the Zill. You know, they need to play aggressive with Zill. And because they weren't able to do that, beginning got called that first rotation. It allowed Allegiance to rotate, get the first Spirit Sentinel, and then they rotated down. They got to kill on Zill in that one fight, and that was where it turned around. And then mid lane, Sleepy just won the mid lane so hard, getting the kill on 80's hero in mid lane, pushing the waves, getting the first tower in mid lane. Mid lane is the hardest tower to get in the early game, and the fact that Allegiance is able to get the mid lane tower that quickly really reflects the power of their rotations and how well Sleepy is doing here by denying the Tulin and the L'Oreal from 80-0.
Well, locking them out of these aggressive mid laners, I think was a huge part of this draft. I mean, denying the Liliana, the L'Oreal, and leaving up that Tulin and then grabbing it, prioritizing that, is just forcing Immortals into a weird position, as we're seeing X-Tiers here as well, just caught out and dead. And I think a big part of this too is how Rocker is playing that Slims. He's not one of these, oh, I'll see you in 10 minutes when I come out of the jungle kind of ADCs. No, he's I'm gonna come out of the jungle every 30 seconds, get a kill, land a spear, follow up, let's rotate, let's jungle, let's do everything correct. He's been involved in so many of these kills so far, and his spears, the stuns have been on point, and you just get locked down for so long. 11 kills to 1, almost a 10k gold lead, 1 high ground tower down, Immortals completely on the back step. This is Allegiance looking for blood.
Yeah, they are, and this is why Zenio is such a good support on the ADC couch. KZ Fox jumps in, gets singled out and deleted, and look at the spears coming from the side of Slims. Rocker is landing so many of these spears and doing so much damage and destroying the front line of Immortals.
Destroying the front line of Immortals indeed, Sui J. They are in full retreat right now, and watch the counter initiation may come in. Beginning steps too far out of the line. All 5 members of Allegiance still up, living and looking good right now as they're pushing in, taking down 2 high ground towers. Up now again, so much in terms of gold lead, so much in terms of these kills, in terms of structure advantage. They are winning in every conceivable format right now. Immortals, despite looking so solid in their semifinal matchup, are just getting run into the ground. The composition of Allegiance here, I think, is just strictly better, especially when Rocker can just solo the team right now going in. And Zenio with the protection as well. X-Tiers is trying to chase him down as well, but Rocker just peeling back too beautifully as KO is putting the fight as well. They're re-engaging on the back as well. KZ Fox loading up in the initiation. He's going to find him. That was the kill that KZ Fox is going to turn. MCS going to get himself out. The Malleus there. Nicely done. But finally, KZ Fox is able to do what he wants, get into the back line, but only able to find 1 kill. It was something, but it's not enough.
They needed these poison gas bombs to displace the side of Allegiance and get these more kills. The fact they only got a kills on Slims is good, but they needed more kills to get back into this game, and they need to combo these abilities. They need to use the displacement that Preda has, that we saw Sleepy do when he was on Preda, just basically repositioning the enemy opponents into his allies and allowing them to secure these kills. And that's something I love 80s heroes to do on Preda here. Even though we haven't seen him play a lot of Preda, that's the key to Preda, is you want to charge up your Plague Spectre and use the poison gas bomb to knock them back into your Plague Spectre, because again, it slows movement speed for 2 seconds and it does a knockback. That is a key indicator of how well a Preda can turn around the fight and put it in favor of your team, is the placement and timing of those poison gas bombs.
We're going to watch for that here. I mean, the poison gas bombs need to be on point. Every skill shot needs to be on point. It's every single person of Immortals needs to step up right now.
And that's what it comes down to. If you look at it, Slims is landing his skill shots. Everyone is landing his skill shot. When Zenio misses his Malice, they don't secure key kills. And Lumber landing his ultimates, this is what it comes down to. Who is landing what skill shots? And that's, as a result, comes down to execution. You know, which team is better executing their abilities and their combo, and if they aren't executing, landing these key stuns and abilities, then they have a much less likely chance of securing these kills that they desperately need.
They do desperately need them. I could not agree more. Desperation is the name of the game, because going down 1 game in a best of 3 against Allegiance is not a place where you want to be. As we now see the pressure coming in once more, the Spear looking to engage, not quite finding it there though. Rocker looking for some more of these flashier, longer range spears here in these fights. Normally the ones that would cause the most damage are sort of the mid-game ones from slightly off to the side, weaving the way through the opposing team and able to just get an additional stun midway through these fights, shutting down key members of Immortals. But look at how fast Rocker takes this down. They're going to initiate their ALG rest. Is actually going to pop off there with the Earth Splitter. They're not really finding anyone though, as we just see Immortals playing this passively, just turtling well.
Yeah, they have to use Preda to turtle. They have to get Preda to the late game. Preda can clear these waves easily, and that's what exactly they need to play defensive. Just clear the wave and get the heck out. Make AOG do some really aggressive dives and then punish them when they're overly positioned underneath Immortals Tower. It's exactly what they need to do right now. Preda needs to make sure these waves are cleared and do not allow the waves to even touch the tower, because Slims will make quick work of these towers. And look at that Lumber initiation.
They're going in now in the backline, beginning since the targets are diving in deep under the Sleepy going against KZ Fox. KZ Fox is actually going to fall. That is huge there, the Endure there as well. X-Tiers is trying to survive as KO is diving under the tower, securing the kills onto the Preda as well. All the while ALG Rocker is just diving away, driving cleaving away at that tower, and that is going to be 3 kills going the way of the side. Actually, 2 kills going the way of the side of Allegiance right now as they're pushing in onto the core. And with that, I believe that is going to be GG. The minions are there, and yes, Allegiance is going to take game number 1. Convincing fashion. They are looking so amazing here in this opening game.
These two teams in the finals wanted to prove to each other that themselves winning in Week 1 and Week 2 for Immortals and Allegiance, respectively, was not a fluke. And what better way to start that proof than Allegiance in a dominating victory over Immortals in Game 1. Welcome back to the desk. Gentlemen, we knew this was going to be one-sided or another based on our previous statistics. Game 1 has most certainly and unequivocally gone in the favor of Allegiance.
Yeah, Game 1, beginnings got caught out as Alice, right? Tulin actually won the mid game really hard. You notice that the first jungle minion that they postered, they actually starved the Jill and slowly took one jungle at a time, and then they started to invade. Like Tulin and the way Sleepy was playing it was exerting so much mid lane control, and then they took the mid lane tower first, which then opened up the jungle completely and allowed Allegiance to really set up for Abyssal Dragons, and that's where it kind of snowballed from there. And there's one critical fight, too, that if Immortals just went in together, they may have been able to turn it around.
It all just came down to the individual play not being there, and I think a lot of that came down to the mid. Starving out those crucial mid heroes, the L'Oreal, the Liliana, the Tulin, not having one of those comfort picks for the side of 80's hero. Again, we know what happens when he gets the comfort picks, but on a Preda, it just didn't synergize with the rest of the draft.
What I saw from Allegiance in that game that they didn't necessarily do in the previous games was instead of taking their victories and just running away with it haphazardly, they didn't do that.